But when you get a subpoena, you comply. Period. End of sentence. Confidentiality goes out the window.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
Welcome to the Appraiser Coach podcast. My name is Dustin Harris, and I am the Appraiser Coach. We are sponsored today by a couple of great companies, one of them being OREP Insurance, the E&O that I use, and you should be as well. It's orep.org is where you find out more, folks. And TrueTrax. Go to truefootage.tech and learn more about TrueTrax, folks. It will change the way that you do appraisals for the better. I want to welcome back to the program, good friend of the program and an expert in the world of USPAP. We have him on frequently to answer questions about USPAP. He is the USPAP expert, USPAP instructor, the appraiser's advocate, Mr. Tim Andersen. Welcome back, Tim.
Dustin, thank you. How are you and all of yours?
No blue shirt today, so I don't know what that tells you. I don't know what you want to read into that, but we're doing well.
How about we read nothing into it and we just go with doing well?
I like that. I'm doing well, my friend. And you and your family?
Just the ones I know of are just peachy. Thank you very much.
Well, welcome back to the program, friend. Every once in a while, we take questions from the audience, from the listeners, or from other sources. But these are questions regarding, USPAP and the related. They sometimes are not directly related to USPAP, but somewhat. And we've got a couple of great questions from our listeners today, Tim, that I would love to dive into with you because you are the expert and I am not. Are you ready, friend?
I am ready.
Okay. The first question comes from Jay. And by the way, this is something that I see actually pretty frequently. So I'm glad we're hitting this on the air so that I can refer back to this. I'm sure whatever comes out of your mouth on this will be profound. The question is this. Jay says, I got a subpoena from a lawyer. I think that might be important, by the way. Got a subpoena from a lawyer. He wants my appraisal report and for me to possibly testify. The subpoena came from the attorney's office, not a judge. Does USPAP say I must comply or can I charge for my expert witness testimony? What do you say, Tim?
Jay, thank you for the question. First of all, an attorney is an officer of the court. Therefore, a subpoena from an attorney is the same thing as a subpoena from a judge.
Oh, okay. This is surprising to me.
Yeah, you'll probably never get a subpoena from a judge, at least in a civil case, which is what real estate appraisal is. Second of all, if you get a subpoena, then unless you plan on moving to Brazil, which does not have an extradition treaty with the United States, you will comply with that subpoena. You will do exactly what you're told. Otherwise, you are in contempt of court. And the judge can throw you in jail until you decide to brighten up and follow the subpoena. Now, USPAP says nothing about subpoenas.
Okay.
And the reason it says nothing about subpoenas is because that's a legal matter. Now, you say, can you charge for your expert witness time? Let me make this perfectly clear. You damn well better. You're the expert.
Yeah.
You get to charge expert witness fees to function as an expert. Now, if you were being called as a fact witness, that would be a totally different story. But you're not. You're being called as an expert witness. So yes, and you say, well, what should my fee be? Well, that's up to you and the attorney. But if when you quote your fee, the attorney's eyes don't start to water and his blood pressure doesn't spike, you've quoted too low.
Okay.
And then you're going to charge from the second you leave your house until the second you get home to your house. Even if you never open your mouth in court, you're going to get paid to sit there and say, sure, I'm getting paid hourly to sit here and be absolutely bored out of my mind. But for what I'm charging, I'll do that. But yeah, you're the expert. And this silliness in the 1004 form that says I don't have to testify unless we've made arrangements in advance. That is total, complete hogwash. You will comply with the subpoena unless there's an incredibly good reason why, like you're going in for a heart transplant. Okay, that's a pretty good reason, and all that'll happen is your testimony will get postponed. But when you get a subpoena, you comply. Period. End of sentence. Confidentiality goes out the window.
Hmm.
Nothing is confidential. Your file becomes part of the public record. Your file, not necessarily not necessarily just your appraisal. Your entire work file and the appraisal become part of the public record. Your testimony becomes part of the public record. If you are ever subpoenaed again, if the attorney subpoenaing you has any brains whatsoever, that attorney will search the public record for past testimonies of yours to see how well you do under pressure.
Fun.
So you get a subpoena, your Fanny is in court on that day at that time, and you are prepared to testify, period, end of sentence.
Okay, so I want to say this, Tim. Jay,
That's clear. Did I any ambiguity there? Are we good to go with that answer?
Actually, let me follow up on a couple of things because I happen to know a little bit more about this question because this is a client of mine, and so I know a little bit more about the situation. So I'm going to paraphrase what Jay told me off the record, and Jay basically said, "I have a feeling that they don't want to pay me to be an expert witness because I'm, let's call it $300 an hour. So the reason for the
They have no
subpoena
choice.
is so that they can pay me a stupid stipend to come and be a
No,
witness."
no, they have no choice. They have to pay you as an expert. Okay, now I have done this. I have gone to court under subpoena, and the first attorney comes up and swears me in and blah, 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 and then starts asking questions. I go, Your Honor, may I ask the court a question? Yes. Your Honor, neither one of these guys have agreed to pay me, and here is my fee. Does the court want me to testify as an expert for free, or does the court want me to be compensated properly for my time, expertise, education, etc.? And the judge looked at the attorney and says, You boys got 5 minutes to work this out. Otherwise, I'll settle the case right here. You have to get paid. Now, so kindly, that was so thoughtful of you. Thank you so much. But you can take your $5.12 check and shove it where the sun don't shine. My hourly fee is insert humongous number here. And then all of a sudden, you may not be that important. And remember, the attorney who sent you the subpoena doesn't pay 100% of your fee. The attorney split it.
Got it.
Okay. And if the judge looks at those attorneys and says, You boys got 5 minutes to work this out, they got 5 minutes to work it out. And if they can't, the judge will just dismiss you and off you go. Now, you won't get paid for that, but you won't have to testify either. So I will guarantee you that when you get that $5.12 check, you send it right back very politely. Thank you. Appreciate it. But here's my hourly fee.
Okay, so one other quick follow-up because we got another question to get to, Tim. Would you recommend that this gets settled before you show up? In other words, can you push back and say, I'd be happy to show up, but here's my fee?
Oh, yeah, you have to.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So don't wait until you're on the stand to do it.
Well, if you have to. But see, this is business. This is why USPAP doesn't concern itself with it because
right.
Business practice. But I mean, yeah, you got to grow a pair and conduct your business. And if you're not going to conduct your business, then damn it, go to cosmetology school.
You heard it here, folks. Tim says, step 1, grow a pair. Step 2, go to business. Okay. All right. Tim, when we get back, got another question from our listening audience regarding comp photos. That's going to be fun. All right, folks. Today we are sponsored by a couple of great companies. Of course, OREP Insurance being my E&O of choice. Folks, I know E&O is not something you think about often, but you do think about CE, continuing education, at least every couple of years, depending on what state you're in. It may be yearly. How about free CE, folks? OREP, if you are a member, gives you 14 hours of free education every single year. And folks, this is not bland education. In fact, our good friend, Mr. Tim Andersen, teaches one of those classes, and it is amazing. I've taken it myself, folks. This is absolutely free just because you're a member of OREP. And there are so many other benefits. Check them out by going to orep.org. That's OREP.org. Speaking of great benefits, folks, what are you using for your software? Now, what are you using to help support the adjustments that you do in the report to help pick your neighborhood? Folks, what if there was a program out there that could assist you, not do it for you, but assist you in making those great decisions with big data? Folks, there is that program. It's called TrueTracks, and it's with True Footage. Check them out by going to truefootage.tech and click on the tab that talks about TrueTracks. Go through their demo, folks. If you're not completely awed and amazed like I was, then I don't know what to tell you. It's an amazing program, and it's worth the cost, because the cost right now, folks, is free. That's right. Check it out. It's TrueTracks at truefootage.tech. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Our good friend, Mr. Tim Andersen, is with us. Tim, you are the appraiser's advocate. Therefore, you know lots of stuff about state board investigations and lawsuits and all of that fun stuff. If an appraiser finds themselves in trouble with the state or other trouble that you might be able to assist them with, how do they get a hold of you, Tim?
Well, Dustin, first thing they do is they call our E&O people and let them know what's going on.
Good.
The E&O people go, okay, thank you. And that's by your contract, excuse me, by your contract, you have to let them know. Okay. Then they'll say, all right, now, do you want legal representation? And you're going to say, yes, but I'm going to get my own administrative law attorney. And then your insurance company will eventually reimburse you for that. You have to pay for it, but you'll eventually get reimbursed. And then depending on how much the attorney knows about USPAP, the attorney may get in touch with somebody like me who can help them with the USPAP, help them with strategy, help them understanding appraisal, so on and so forth. But when you want to get a hold of me, please do so. My email address is tim@theappraisersadvocate.com. And, you know, I do more than merely help folks who are in trouble with their state boards. In fact, I'd like your doctor. I really, you know, when you're sick, okay, come to me and I'll help you. But I'd really rather see you when you're not sick. Come to me before the state comes calling, so we can say, all right, let's work on making those adjustments. Let's work on learning how to write better. Let's work on coming to understand what USPAP requires of you. Most people have never heard of the 14 points of USPAP. But if you know what they are and follow them, you're not going to have a problem.
Speaking of not having a problem, Tim, if you start putting on rubber gloves like my doctor sometimes does, I think I'm leaving. All right, comp photos. This is from Scott.
Inside joke, folks. We're not going to go anywhere near it.
I'm not cutting that out. All right, Scott says this: comp photos. We all hate them, but we do them with arms twisted. I don't know about all hate them. I know some appraisers that love comp photos. I don't get it, but whatever. Okay, I know USPAP does not require comp photos or even comps, is what he says. However, Fannie Mae requires neighborhood view of comps from the road. I noticed that it does not say when. Question for Tim: do you see appraisers getting in trouble with the state if they drove past the comps, say 3 months or so before, and not on or around the effective date? Asking for a friend, of course, Scott says.
Asking for a friend, of course, which makes sense. From a standpoint of photos, USPAP has no photographic photo inclusion, photo taking standards. So no, USPAP doesn't require photos, period. End of sentence. Stop debating it. Stop worrying about it. USPAP does not require photos. Fannie Mae does not require photos. The lenders do. Okay. So don't blame Fannie for the lender's problem. Fannie already knows what your house looks like. It has Google Earth. Hello. So don't blame Fannie. Don't blame USPAP. Now, standard, I think it's 23, but I don't remember which one it is, says, I drove past the house and looked at it from the street. It doesn't say anything about photos. It doesn't say anything about when you take them. Now, recent interpretations by Fannie have said, you drove past it 3 months ago, but that was for that assignment. you still have to drive past it again for this assignment,
Okay.
but it doesn't say anything about the photos.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you live in a frozen hell like Dustin does, and it's January and there's 8 feet of snow on the ground, but your comparable photo was taken in May,
Mm-hmm.
you might want to redo that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just for practicality sense. But yeah, you got to drive past the property, but no, you don't have to take a picture because USPAP doesn't demand it. Fannie Mae doesn't demand it. That is a lender requirement. And if you are willing to accept the assignment with that client condition, then take the photos.
Bingo. Yeah.
If you don't want to take the photos, tell them you're not going to, or tell them you're going to take them out of MLS. The only thing is, if you take them out of MLS, you have to make sure that you're not violating the copyright. And I don't really think you are, because you are licensed to use the photos. And then make sure you put in the report that you didn't
Where you
take the
got it from.
photo.
Yep.
That it's a MLS photo.
Yep. Yeah. So one thing and I'm going to answer my own question here because I don't want to put you on the burner here, but I've been asked the question, well, Dustin, if you're going to drive past the neighborhood, why not just take the photo? Because that just shows that you went there. And I said, well, number one, and maybe the most important thing is because there's some neighborhoods that if I rolled down my window and stuck my phone out and started snapping pictures, I'm putting myself in danger. That's why. So I love how you've separated, Tim, the photo from the view of the neighborhood, right? Fannie Mae says that you need to view the neighborhood and view the comp from the exterior. It says nothing about photos. And for those naysayers who say, well, you might as well take a picture if you're there anyway, maybe in some neighborhoods that might be fine. In others, there may be some issues. So
yeah, and maybe you could hire a professional contractor who on the side of the truck says, "Hello, professional contractor, don't shoot." But you say, well, that
what
costs
kind of
money.
contract are we talking about?
Well, there are numerous kinds. Some of them you have to meet in dark alleys, but I bet they do. But remember, you say, well, that costs money. Well, yeah, build it into the fee. And you say, well, my client won't pay anymore. Then, damn it, get a new client.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
fire
exactly.
the SOB.
Yep.
And get a new client.
Yep, I love it. Okay, so
say, well, that's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
So a quick follow-up, because one of the questions that the individual asked, because you have so much experience, I'm not going to use the word representing, but assisting appraisers who might find themselves before the state board. The question was specific to, do you see many appraisers getting in trouble for comp photos?
No, not if you're going to use MLS photos, use MLS photos, just disclose it properly. Okay. Now, if your letter of engagement says an appraiser, thou shalt take photos, and it doesn't say a contractor, it doesn't say your 18-year-old son who's saving money for college. If it says thou shalt take photos, then thou shalt take them. And the state will look at that. And if you don't, then there's a problem. But if you are not operating under that limitation, the state is not going to make an issue of it because, again, there's no photography standard in USPAP.
Thank you, Tim. Folks, if you want to learn AI, I got good news for you. I am coming to Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday, June 7th, and we are going to do a very deep dive into AI, ChatGPT, Grok, maybe some other models on two things. Number one, how you can use AI in your appraisal report. Folks, it is rare, and I'm talking maybe 2% of the time that I don't use some form of AI when I do an appraisal at this point. I'm going to show you what I do and how to do it. Number two, business and personal development, how to use AI in becoming a better person, becoming a better husband, a better wife, a better dad, a better mom, a better son, a better uncle, a better person, but how to be a better business owner and more successful. AI can help you with that as well. Again, we are coming to Atlanta, Georgia on June 7th. Now, by the way, I'm going to buy you lunch if you come. And in the afternoon, we're going to do a mastermind. I'm going to show you a sneak peek into what a mastermind can be with other appraisers in the room. And so the morning is a workshop. The afternoon is a mastermind in person in Atlanta. June 7th. Join us by going to my website, TheAppraiserCoach.com. Again, TheAppraiserCoach.com. Tim, thank you, friend. So good to have you here. Really appreciate your wisdom and insight.
I appreciate your friendship, Dustin. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit TheAppraiserCoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.